get here? Right? How'd I get here?
How did I get here, podcast?
How did I get here? How did I get here, podcast?
How'd I get here?
How did I get here? How'd I get here podcast? Bam.
All right. Welcome back to another episode of the How'd I Get Here podcast, the podcast for progression, positivity, and helping us find our path. I'm sitting here with Sarai, Peart, and first-time newcomer of the show, and Chris Prescott, who you guys know before. How you guys doing? Good. How was everybody's Valentine's Day? I know we ain't talking about Valentine's today.
It was good.
Oh, you was having like a hot girl winter? Like was your Valentine?
No, I had a good Valentine's Day. Stop it.
Talk about it off mic.
If I was light skinned, I'd be blushing right now. Don't do that.
Yours was good, Chris?
Mine was really good.
Cool. Well, you know, I just, like I said in the last episode, it's Black History Month. And I just want to bring all the positivity, all the energy to Black History Month, you know? So I thought I have two African-American, very powerful people with me. And Steve's going to be joining us as well in a little bit. You guys are positive influences in your community. And I'm now teaching, which how the hell did I get there? I guess that'll be an episode.
That's the next episode.
But I think it was like a week or two ago, I was with my students, and I said, all right, guys, it's the beginning of Black History Month. I want you guys to take the next 10 minutes to write down what does Black History Month mean for you. And one of my students, who's actually Puerto Rican, goes, Mister, I'm not black. And I say, yeah, but, well, first of all, if you really want to get down to it, your ancestors were, but that's another conversation. I say, yeah, but what you don't realize is what people fought for back in the day. They were fighting for it so Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, Haitians, everyone could have a right. You know what I mean? So when I celebrate Black History Month, it's more so because, you know, people went through something so we could all have equality. You know, and that's not taken away from African Americans or anything. It's you guys went through it for all of us, and I appreciate that. So my perspective on it is that's why I celebrate, to look back for what everybody did for us, so I could have a podcast, so I could go to college, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't know who wants to go first, but what does Black History Month mean to you guys?
I'll go first. I want to add to what you said. I wouldn't even just say it's something, you know, we fought and we gave people rights and we paved the way in certain ways. I would also add that life would not be the same without Black people.
I agree.
There's a lot of amenities and inventions that came about because of us and who we are and our minds and our creativity. So I would add to that. It's not even just about, you know, fighting for rights. Think about how life would be different without us.
Yeah.
Okay?
Right.
Yeah.
No, is that good? That's it? 'Cause I felt like you was about to go on a tangent.
I will go on a tangent. I'll go a little
Take us further.
That's why we doing this.
Let me take this floor while I got it. I'd also say that there's a certain level of dignity that comes with being Black that we've taken. There's a certain level of pride that we've taken because it wasn't given to us. There's a certain level of optimism, I'd say that too, positivity that we created amongst ourselves. That's very important to even study and to understand because, listen, Black people, we're just different. There's a uniqueness to us. And that's why a lot of people try to, you know, be Black, especially some of these celebrities, which I will not name.
We don't want that smoke.
They want our Blackness for a reason.
I feel you, though.
And that's something that, you know, if you understand our Blackness and understand what makes us who we are, it can be applied to other cultures. People can learn from us.
Right.
So I think that's important.
Dope. So, Chris, what does Black History Month mean to you?
I'll just piggyback off of what the both of you said, like starting with you. Just thinking about where we've come as a country, to what we're allowed to do and we're able to do, and the opportunities that we have and the doors that we have open that weren't always open, that I like literally think about on a daily basis. That, man, like a lot of people that were our age and were as talented as us didn't get the opportunity to show a glimpse of that.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Because of the oppression in many ways. So I just think about that. And I just going off for what she said, man, just there's a different element to what we bring to the table in the world as far as entertainment, as far as science, even like he's talking about the inventions. This is just a different level of black excellence leading into the
I see what you did there.
that we have that just allows us to be different and
Right.
allows us to express ourselves in a very unique way. And I really look forward to like seeing more doors open for people like us and seeing more opportunity for people like us to be able to showcase, you know, their talents and their brains and what they can bring to the table. So
For sure.
yeah, that's what Black History means to me, man. Black History Month means to me. It's just looking forward to, you know, a new day and a new opportunity, but also being cognizant of what we had to go through for us
For
to
sure.
get there.
So you kind of hit on it. You said, you know, looking back to move forward. So what do you guys do? Like who are you guys? What do you guys do? And I got to take a step back because I probably should have asked that to start, but I got excited because I know Sarai got all the hot takes. What do you guys do just in general, you know, with your everyday life? Who are you guys in your communities and your lives? Like, what do you guys do?
So with me, my whole life purpose and passion regards around just helping student athletes get to the next stages and levels of their lives, and that's just not athletically, that's emotionally and spiritually as well. And we do that through community events, you know, mostly with sports and mentoring and enrichment for people of all ages. But myself being a black man, an educated black man, professional athlete, a former teacher, you know, a child of God, I just feel myself having a lot of hats that I wear that can just be an example to those who are coming up that just want to be the best that they can be in whatever avenue they choose.
For sure. And it's important because you're a role model for all of us. You know what I mean? You're something that people can look up to, or kids, I should say, or anybody could look up to that maybe we didn't have growing up, maybe we need now. You know what I mean? So that's very important.
And that's my thing before you even move on.
No,
that's
for
my
sure.
whole thing. That's my whole mantra is be who you needed when you were younger. So I think that's why I do what I do now, because if I were younger and I had somebody that was a professional basketball player, a teacher, community leader, a mentor, just giving me encouragement and telling me along the way that you can do it. You're going to be hiccups,
Right.
and bumps in the road, but you know, stick through it. Here's some of my resources for you to get over these things.
For sure.
That would have been a lot easier. So I'm just trying to make everybody's ride easier, anybody's journey easier, the way some people have done for me.
Word. I appreciate that. And Sarai, what about you? And give us the whole spiel. We ain't got a time limit here.
Okay,
right?
well then that's good because I know I can talk about me. If that's one thing I can talk about, I can talk about me. When I talk about who I am, I feel like it's always centered around the experiences that have shaped me.
Right.
I've seen a lot of things, I've done a lot of things, I've been through a lot of things, and I'm associated with a lot of things. So, number one, my identity when it comes to who I am, I focus on the fact that I am a pastor's daughter, and that has shaped a lot. You're a pastor's kid? Yes, okay, shout out PK.
Shout out to
So I
PKs.
feel like that was probably the first thing that shaped my identity in life. You know, morals, what I hold on to, what I don't want to hold on to. That was a big part of my experience. So I always acknowledge, you know, shout out Bishop Dr. Byron Peart, okay?
Shout out Pops, man.
Shout out Kenrick Prescott, my pastor Kenrick Prescott, my dad.
Nice.
My mom too, Elder Deborah Prescott.
Yes. So that's all. I always acknowledge that because my faith is probably at the center of everything I do is to please God.
Yep.
Amen.
And number two, I'm a advocate for women who are victims of domestic violence. Without going into detail, but I have, you know, gone through that journey. And then number three, mental health advocate. That's probably the most recent thing that I've picked up. And I definitely have been working to destigmatize mental health, especially in our community, because,
Right.
you know, as people of color, you know, people of faith like myself, and even as a woman and as a young adult, it's kind of hard to discuss your mental health journey. I'm currently working in the education field. I really enjoy that. I really enjoy working with youth, being a mentor, like he said, being someone that I needed when I was younger. Yeah. So
That's love.
That's some of the layers. I'm still a woman, so shout out to the feminists.
Yep.
And I'm a boss woman, so I'll be the first to tell you how I feel. I think that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Nah, that's like, it's funny because Andrew, like before you got here, we were chopping it up, and Andrew's he's waving. Everybody wave to Andrew. He's been on the show multiple times, and he was like, I said, yo, you gonna be on the episode? He's like, well, you got two very experienced and people that can really talk, so I'm gonna sit this one out. So, you know, that's like you said, yeah.
Oh, but I want to add, my blackness comes first, actually.
How do you mean by that?
My blackness does come first. Me being a black person, woman, anything, that comes first. When people see me, that's the first thing they see, that I'm black, and that's defined me in a number of ways, and that's at the center of who I am, actually. My faith and my blackness.
So that's, and I'm trying to word this well, because it's interesting that you say that. Does being black dictate how you carry yourself, or that the first thing people see? Because we do live in a day and age that people judge off looks. You know what I mean? They don't actually take the chance to get to know you. So it's interesting that you say that the first thing you are is black. Does that dictate, you know, how you carry yourself and things like that?
Yes, I definitely say so. I definitely see myself through my own lens, but I'm very, very aware of the lens that people see me through.
Okay.
And I'm very wary of how my blackness can come off, especially in a professional setting.
Right.
In a professional setting. Because even now, if I was on this thing talking like this and shaking my neck and all that, you know, that's the impression you're giving
For
off.
sure.
And it's always associated with blackness. And like, there's this thing where everyone's talking about your black scent, like your black accent, and how we have to be able to turn on and off our ebonics, depending on the setting that we're in. So I'm very aware of my blackness and the presence that I bring when I come to a room.
For sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Chris?
No, I'm the same. I'm very aware of changing the narrative about, you know, like you said, just we are books that are judged from the first page. You know what I mean? The first cover. So I'm just very, very aware of just changing the narrative to people that may look at us and think a certain type of way, and then leaving the conversation or leaving my energy feeling another type of way. And so, like, we have a lot of times we have a lot of unfair stigmas that have been around for a while, especially with younger black people. So I'm just, especially like comparing it to in the professional settings and social settings, and just changing the narrative above. Like, everything is not what you see on Love and Hip Hop or some craziness. You know what I mean? Everything is not like that. So just I'm just real conscious of how like America sees us and society views us, and just trying to change that or keep it alive if it's possible.
All right, so you guys, I thought I stepped on your toe. Can't mess up the nice shoes. So y'all brought up, you know, some very, very good points. And there's something, I don't want to say something. It's, when we were talking before, you said, what are we talking about? I said black excellence. And literally the first thing you said, well, what is black excellence? And I was doing some research yesterday. And this is Google's definition. So I'll take it with a grain of salt. You know, you can't, what did they say? Don't trust Wikipedia in school. So is continuous actions to look within ourselves and act in ways that progress our communities without discrediting our community, the efforts outside or within our community. So according to Google, that is the definition of black excellence. So how would you guys, because if, like, you look on TV now, the NBA, like, and in sports predominantly, they're promoting black excellence, right? But for maybe somebody who doesn't know, or someone says, yeah, black excellence, well, what is it? How would you guys define, or what does black excellence mean to you guys? And whoever wants to take it.
I'm thinking of this one thing, and it's like, I don't even know if anybody's gonna understand this reference, but you guys ever saw Cool Runnings?
Yes.
Of course.
And do you remember when he sat the guy in front of the mirror? I see pride. I see power. Like, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. And I don't know if everybody else is going to get this reference, but look it up. And that's the first thing I think of, because you do have to look yourself in the mirror like that if you're going to talk about Black excellence.
Right.
You have to have that pride. You have to feel powerful.
For sure.
And that's what it is. It's a very empowering, it's like the essence of empowerment. Like, that's literally what it is. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. When I think of Black excellence, I just think of having, like she said, having that empowerment, that self-empowerment, to be able to take yourself and be examples for others and change the narrative to those who are not Black, and just say, like, all right, well, this is what we see as excellence. It's not even about what anybody else views it as, or it's not about anybody else's opinion. It's about us just taking pride and having empowerment for our culture and our people. So that's what I think of for Black excellence.
Word. I mean, I can get with that, and it's something that I think we as adults, we understand, but I don't think the youth really does get it. And I keep going back because now that I'm in the school system, it's interesting to see these young, and I'll say minorities because it's as a whole, they don't really understand their power. You know what I mean? And I think kind of what you guys are saying is that Black excellence, or like what you were saying earlier, to be Black is to be powerful. And I don't think at a young age, even me when I was young, I didn't understand the power that I had as a minority. So with that being said, what would your message be either to the youth or to maybe other people that maybe don't understand their power, don't understand their strength, or maybe don't understand Black excellence? She's like, damn, that was a lot.
That was a lot, because I thought you were going to stop at one point, but you continued the question. So now I got to unpack it.
I talk a lot. And now we're going to go to a commercial break while Sarai figures out what she wants to say.
I mean, if it's a message to the youth in general,
so let's start there. Let's
if we start at that, let's start at that step, and then we'll work our way up.
I'm still working on my interview skills, so.
Nah, you good. This is Black excellence.
He got us sweating in the blue shirt.
Hey, my bad. Hey, that was on camera. They don't know about
That was off camera, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't realize. Okay. Message to the youth in general is you should be proud of yourself. And I say that to my students. So a lot of times, like, a student, especially the younger age group, they'll come to you and they'll be like, oh, look what I did. And they're looking for you to say, I'm proud of you. Yeah. But really, what you should be saying to that student in that moment, I hope people take this away, is you should say to them, you should be proud of yourself. Mm-hmm. Because they shouldn't be looking for that validation in any way. They should say, hey, I am proud of me. And so I think that's probably like the biggest message that I would push in this scenario, is you should be proud of yourself, because from that pride comes the power. Mm-hmm. So I would start there. Yeah, let's see what you got.
No, I like that. I don't know. I'm putting that on a t-shirt. I don't know if I can beat that. I'll piggyback instead of creating
Black
a whole
pride is definitely what Black excellence really embodies to me.
Right.
Is Black pride. Just like, you know how they'll have like the LGBTQRSTUVWXYZ pride? They'll have that pride, and that's like, that was a big movement, and it still is a big movement. And I think that's where Black excellence is going, like, to be proud of who you are. Don't be ashamed. Take that shame, flip it around, and toss pride back at them. And that's what I would teach people about Black excellence.
I would agree. I will flip it and say, like, societies, as far as a kid, they grow up and see, like, a society wants you to act like this. They want you to be this. You got to be this type of Black man. You got to be this type of Black woman. Mm-hmm. Or if you get too loud, now you're an angry, loud Black woman. Yeah. And if you have your pants just a little, lower than usual, then you a thug. And so, to piggyback, just take pride in yourself. You know what I mean? Don't let anybody or society tell you what you need to look like, how you need to act. What field you should be in, what things of interest you should take part in. You know what I mean? Like, it's too many times we're pigeonholed. We feel like, all right, well, I'm Black, I got to be able to do this or that. No, like, you know what I'm saying? Society would tell us that, but that's where the pride comes in and the excellence comes in, because if you're proud and you see tons of value in yourself, you can take that anywhere and be valuable, not just what the norm is.
And I think the beautiful thing about what both of you guys are saying is not allowing society or other people to dictate who you are. And I think a lot of people, you know, you kind of hit on it, the importance of mental health. A lot of people worry about what other people think of you.
Man, you got the age of Instagram and this and that, and
Right.
approval. This is the age of approval.
Right.
You know what I mean? And approval in the wrong eyes. Because,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? The kids will be seeking approval to people that have nothing to do with their futures. You know what I mean?
Right.
Or nothing to do with their advancement in any ways. So think about, this is another thing, think about who you're seeking approval from, and is it valuable to your future? You know what I mean?
So should you seek approval from anybody? I mean, I hear what you're saying, but is there anyone that you should require validation or approval from? And
Yeah.
I guess that's just me playing devil's advocate, I guess.
I'll give this example, like in a humble way. All right, there might have been people who I wanted approval from when I was in high school or even middle school to say, all right, well, Chris is good. He's a good basketball player. You know what I'm saying? And I probably wanted that approval from them.
Right.
But when it come down to it, the only approval I needed was the college coaches that were going to pay for my 4-year education,
Word.
you know, in college. That's the only approval that really mattered. And it don't matter what anybody off the Joe Schmo says off the street about his opinion on who's good or bad or not, rank this one, that. Don't matter. Like, what is that? So if I'm hanging my head on that and not really realizing the value in which the approval is really important from, then I'm already at a disadvantage. But I had to realize, look, I had 25 scholarship offers coming out of high school. Those are the people I need to. Those are the people I need to seek approval from. And oftentimes I would not. I would say, all right, well, my man from down the street ain't really give me a compliment like that. Damn,
Right.
like, did I not do as good? But then I got the coach texting me saying, oh, great job.
Right.
So it's just that example right there is just like, just be careful who you're seeking approval from, and that'll flip the script on a lot of mental, disparities we have, because oftentimes we're seeking approval from people that don't even matter.
Right. You want to hit on that or?
No, I
nah?
agree. He used the word advancement, and I think that was like that's the operative word right there. Like, if they're not advancing you and they're not holding you back in any way, it does not matter.
They don't matter.
Right. All right. So now that we kind of have hit on that, and those are like very, very good points. And I don't know if this is like a redundant question, but kind of circling back to Black excellence, is on a daily basis or in your everyday lives, what do you guys do? Can you guys give some examples of how you guys just personally exert Black excellence, or just excellence in general? I don't want to keep saying it because I feel like that minimizes it, or am I right or wrong in saying that? Like, y'all excellent, you know what I mean? And Black excellence. So I don't know if that makes sense or if I'm just babbling now.
Repeat the question.
Like I said, I'm still working on my skills. How do you guys on a daily basis, live through Black excellence?
Well, I try to, first and foremost, especially like publicly, I just try to, like, for instance, first thing when I wake up, I go right to the Bible app, read the word, and then I just post it. You know what I mean? Because I just feel like a lot of times we start our day with nonsense and things that really help us start our day to the best of our abilities. So that's one thing I try to portray, is just like God. Just try to portray faith, exude my faith, so that everybody else will be comfortable exuding theirs.
For sure.
So that's one thing. You know, Black people love God, so so that's one thing. And like the next part of that is just trying to, like I said earlier, just trying to be the example to anybody that is trying to be great. Mm-hmm. And just embracing the good days, embracing the bad days, just delivering messages that empower people and not break people down, delivering content that uplifts people instead of breaks people down. So just, I think that in my own small world of my own small version of Black excellence, I just try to be the best I can be, and I think that contributes to the empowerment and the movement.
Word.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I kind of tag along with the be the best you can be. I feel like I'm very, very consumed with healing right now. Like that's like my biggest focus right now. And I feel like you can't be excellent unless you've healed from a lot. And I feel like us as a people, there's a lot in our past that we have to heal from, like history, like way back then that we need to heal from. And even like there's like some residual hurt, like especially on our young black men today about stuff that has happened over history. So I feel like my biggest way that I can be excellently black is to heal. So you can't be excellent when you're hurt.
I like that.
For sure.
So I feel like that's my biggest contribution to my people, to myself, to my sisters and brothers, helping them heal, healing myself. It's a nonstop process. It's a long journey, but I think that's the best way I could be excellent.
Word.
I like that.
So who were some of the people that you looked up to growing up that maybe motivated you guys, and now? See, now you got me mad self-conscious about my questions in my topic. And I'm trying to just get it like in 12 words or less. But yeah, who were some of your role models? Who were some of the athletes, singers in your community? I mean, I know you guys both spoke about your parents being pastors. So who were some people that you look up to growing up and now?
First name, I'd be remiss if I didn't say this, Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace to a legend in many ways. I looked up to him because he, off the court, was somebody special to a lot of people, and on the court was somebody special to a lot of people too. And that doesn't really happen. You know, a lot of times we think, all right, I'm special on the court, I don't got to do nothing off the court. I'm special off the court, I don't really have to do too much for anybody else. But to see this progression from an athlete to a business entrepreneur, mogul, over the years has been really inspiring for me growing up, to see him just as an athlete, as a younger man, to be now being older, going through college, and after being a professional myself, and then now into being an entrepreneur, to see how he took that. There's a few examples that I will always take from him. One is, off the court, I'm not really a loud person. I'm, more laid back and chill. On the court, I'm a totally different energy. I play with aggression. I play with passion, joy. Oftentimes could be mistaken as, I don't know, things that maybe in the past people could say like hot-headed or temperamental, that he allowed a lot of young boys like myself for it to be okay to play with aggression. And then be somebody off the court that could have no aggression at all. You know what I mean? And to have that separate entity to where you're somebody totally different in your craft and not who you are as a person. So that's what I learned from him. Another role model, there's a ton. There's just a ton. I'll be here for days. Talking about people.
No, but that, I mean, I don't mean to cut you off, but that is kind of a testament to who Kobe was. And my thing, I remember growing up, I watched basketball, but I really wasn't the biggest fan. But I remember my mentality as a kid was, all right, I'm on the East Coast, I got to like an East Coast team. So whoever was in the finals, that's who I would go for. So the years of like the Pistons with like Chauncey Billups and those guys, the Celtics, when Paul Pierce and those guys got, it was like I wanted to see him, but Kobe was always there. And as an athlete, I really didn't appreciate Kobe until I got older and realized this man is great.
Great.
You know what I mean? Like, this man is an assassin. He perfected his craft, or killed his craft. And then further, not only was he an assassin on the court, as soon as he stepped off, he was somebody else. Like you were saying, someone else that I could look up to and be like, I want to be like that in my everyday life. Right. So like you're saying, I learned to appreciate Kobe in different ways, but similar to what you were saying. So, Sarai, how about you? I mean, you're a big Kobe fan too, or like you?
I didn't know anything about that stuff. My dad was watching soccer. We were a soccer family, Adidas over Nike.
Man, your dad was one of my biggest supporters when I was in high school.
Yeah.
I always appreciated that. Not to get sidetracked. But
No, that's a perfect segue because that's who I looked up to. My
for
dad.
sure.
Like, I feel like he embodied integrity and dignity. My dad has always been, and he was aggressive on the field, but like off the field, he was just so like calm and so kind and so patient. And I've seen how he's dealt with my mom. And I know in the Black community, there's statistics that show that there aren't a lot of Black men within the home, especially doing good in the home. So I definitely looked up to him. I thought I was gonna marry my dad when I was like 6. I didn't understand how those things worked. To my defense, it wasn't anything weird. I just didn't understand how marriage worked. So I definitely looked up to him, how he was helpful to people, he mentored people, his faith and his character. And I still feel that way about my dad. Shout out once again, Dr. Byron G.E. Peart. Yeah, I feel like he was Black excellence. He is Black excellence. And my mom too. But I feel like I always gravitated towards my dad because he was a man and I was daddy's girl. So
no, I can piggyback off of that too. Just seeing my dad as an example, being there for a lot of people, and then being there for his family, and then being there for himself. You know what I mean? It's a lot. You know, like to be a pastor of a church, you gotta.
Amen.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Like you gotta cater to a lot of people, a lot of families. You gotta be there for weddings, for the Bible study, for funerals,
baby showers,
for exactly,
christenings,
yes,
baptisms,
all of the above, and it gets hectic.
They be at the hospital,
all day. Yes,
somebody call in the middle of the night. We in the
Please,
hospital,
right? I need,
they go running.
It does not stop. It does not stop.
Yep, counseling,
all that,
encouraging
my dad,
people.
Exactly, my dad was all of that. He is all of that. So like. And for him to be married to my mom for 43 years, and I never ever heard my dad raise his voice at my mom.
Nice.
Never ever heard them argue. That's just I looked up to him in that way. So like when it's come time for me to have my queen, I can have an example to. Why are you looking at me like that? I'm trying to be serious.
No.
Right? He was saying, giving his little speech.
What's in the question popped in my head.
I know you had something bubbling as soon as I said that. But yeah, just to see that example in front of me on a daily basis just inspires me to be, to carry on the greatness and the excellence and the positivity.
Mm-hmm.
Word. And this question literally, both hit on it about Black love. Both your dad or fathers, the way you said, loved your mothers. You know what I mean? What does Black love look like? What does Black love mean to you guys?
Black love is under attack. I'm just going to say that right then and there. Black love is definitely under attack. And it's not even just, within ourselves that the issue is. Like the way the system is set up, like Black love, it's very hard for it to survive. It's very hard for it to come about. Just look at how the system's set up. Like, the Black man can't even really be in the home for a woman to receive assistance from the state. Because now there's 2 incomes.
Right.
So he can't be there because that's the only way she's going to be able to eat. Think about that. Then think about mass incarceration. Like, let's think about how Black love is under attack for real. Like, let's think about where our men are being pushed to and taken just by the system. I'm not even going to say, because Black men ain't this and they wrong.
Hey,
I
Black men don't cheat. Charlemagne.
Can I get some water? No, but if you really think about it, and a lot of times people like to blame Black men as to why Black love isn't flourishing the way it should. But if you think about the system and the way things are set up and stacked against our Black men, that's where the real disparity is.
No, I totally agree. I think I never even looked at it like that. I'm glad you said that. Like, Black love is oppressed. You know what I mean? Like, it's an oppressed situation from both sides, just because you have, two genders under one attack in different ways. You know what I mean? And they come at us in all shapes and forms and sizes and all laws and different. You know what I mean? So that's an interesting point of view right there. Like, it's under attack. That's
literally
how
deep.
I feel. That's deep.
But Black love, when it does survive, when it does thrive, when it's allowed to grow, I think it's a beautiful thing.
The strongest thing I've ever seen.
It's very beautiful, especially if you consider all the things that, and once again, the attacks on different fronts. And in my head, I'm just like picturing like a man and a woman like holding each other while all this stuff is just coming at them. And that's what makes it beautiful, because it's like, you know, like, it's like a rose, like, you know, you grew from the concrete type thing.
Yeah. No, that's true. No, that's so true.
Yeah, I definitely think Black love, when it exists and it's healthy and it's strong, it's a beautiful thing.
I think there's no other type of love that has to endure what Black love has to endure.
No,
On a
definitely
daily
not.
basis, in the past, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Word. So we got a couple more questions. How do you guys, or how does music, and when I say music, I don't want to just boil it down to hip hop, because our music is much more than just hip hop. I mean, so keep that in mind when I ask this question.
Yeah.
And here go my 12 words. How does music help or hurt Black?
He wasn't gonna make it.
He wasn't gonna make it.
How does music help or hurt the culture?
Okay.
And I think that was
Music is
11 and a
art.
half.
Art is expression. Music is art. Art is expression. So I'm neutral on this topic. I can see where certain music can be a bad influence, but that's with any music. That can happen with the white people music. You know, it could be a bad influence. But I feel like expression, even in its ugliest form, shouldn't be suppressed. So I'm neutral on that, about
Word.
whether or not it helps or hurts. I would probably have to do a study on that and
Okay, word.
see statistics and real research to even speak on that. So I'm neutral, because I think people should be able to express, you know, freedom of speech is one of the biggest things we
sure.
pride ourselves on in this crappy country. I think it's expression. And I think even when they are, you know, rapping about or singing about drugs or something like that, it's expression. And I think people should be allowed
Right.
to express
That's the
themselves
beauty
in
of
that.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm in the middle on this. I think that we've through Black excellence shown a lot of what we can do in the music game and in all forms, and just showcasing. I think we have the most talent out of anybody on this earth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I really genuinely believe that we're the most talented people, because we have to overcome a lot.
Right. Right.
And through our coming of different situations in our lives, that makes us better artists, better athletes, and the struggle makes us better people in a whole. And I do also not appreciate how we often use our platform for expression, even though I'm glad that we do have free range to express ourselves. I do think that through showing our progressive Black excellence, there are some things through like song lyrics or whatever the case may be that kind of hold us back or set us back in some ways, shapes, or forms that I shouldn't be having to go in a car with my nieces and nephews, and as soon as I turn the radio on, I got to turn it off because it just ain't right.
Right.
But I get it. You know what I mean? These are
Yeah.
things that I listen to as well. You know what I'm saying? I can't get past it. You know what I mean? But I do wish that there wasn't. I wish there wasn't anything out there for us to put out for anybody to attack.
Right.
You know what I mean? Especially through words. So, yeah, I'm just cognizant of that. Like I just would hope that that while we're trying to portray Black excellence, that even our form of expression doesn't hold us back, which typically is the case. You know what I mean? They'll let, you know, another genre slide with, you know, talking about this topic and expressing themselves that way, but they'll attack us for having, you know, a few curse words in a song and call it the worst thing ever. So I'm just into changing the narrative, and I know we gotta, you know, it's rap, you know, there's other, you know, and like you said, it's not just hip hop, but that's the first thing I think of. We should be able to freely express ourselves, man. You know what I mean? Like we've come so far from not having opportunities and platforms, even like this, to express ourselves.
Sure.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way. So anything that hurts us, even if it's ourselves, I'm just not always gonna be the biggest fan of, you know?
Right. And I think the biggest thing that you hit on is platform. Because you look at it, and I just love what African American players in the NBA do, because one, the NBA allows them to use their platform. You know, when there's certain current events going on, when everybody wanted to wear the hoodies and stuff, the NBA, one, allowed them to, but two, the NBA players do such a good way of using their platform to get a message across. Yep. Or, you know, they've got it. And to kind of loop back to the music, my favorite rapper is J. Cole. And the way he uses his platform and gets his messages across is just, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And my thing with him is, like, you look at his album, For Your Eyes Only, a lot of people didn't realize we needed that album till we got that album. And some of the messages in it, but he used his platform the right way to say, here you go. You know what I mean? So that's a good point that you brought up. All right, so we got a couple more questions, and I feel like this one is very, very interesting. And I also feel like Sarai gonna have some hot takes, so y'all be ready. Can non-persons of color promote Black excellence?
Yes, they can, but they better tread lightly.
How do you mean?
He said, "How do you mean?"
No, don't elaborate.
I feel like there's ways to go about promotion, and I feel like what I am seeing for myself, I don't want to generalize, but what I'm seeing for myself is that a lot of times white people are trying to profit off of their promotion of Black excellence. And for me, we should be profiting. So if you're going to promote us, do it free of charge. Don't try to get clout off of it. Don't try to get money off of it.
It's the right
do it
thing.
because you appreciate who we are, not because, hey, this can get me somewhere.
Right.
So promotion is fine, but it depends on where you're putting the profit of that promotion.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, speak your mind, bro. This is why I brought you here.
I'm not trying to get no death threats in my DMs.
Well, damn, I was gonna say you won't, but I am gonna tag you. So.
Just know there's a proper way to go about promotion.
Right.
We love allies. We like being included. So if you're an inclusive person, that's good. If you like diversity, that's good. But tread lightly. Don't do something that is, that cultural appropriation was a big debate, I think, like 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Don't do certain things that if you got a question if it's okay, don't do it.
And that's life.
If your conscience is literally tapping you on the shoulder when you do it, like, hey, this is a little risky, just don't do it.
Right.
Just like when you're getting dressed for work, especially as us as females. If you feel like the shirt might be low cut, it probably is. So when you're promoting us, do it right.
Mm-hmm. Damn, I wish you could have zoomed in today.
right. I'm just.
Chris, you want to hit on that?
I think non-people of color. Does that make sense?
Anglo-Saxons.
I feel so weird.
All right, that's what I was like.
Yeah.
What's the proper way?
I don't know what the proper term. Yeah, I think non-people of color can promote it. I agree with Sarai that just. It can't be. The intent has to be for pure promotion of the excellence from us, mm-hmm. not from exploiting us or getting something
that's
from it.
That's the word, exploit.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
So that's what I. Of course, they can't promote it, but just be careful what the intent is what I'm.
Right, mm-hmm. and how you go about it.
Yeah.
And in a world where non-people of color are so hypersensitive about everything, you would think they would be sensitive to our Blackness.
Man, and I guess, like, because I don't want to. All right, we the elephant in the room. I guess you could say we're talking about white people, but it's not just white people. You know what I mean? Like, Hispanics. And you know what? I actually want to bring this up. What was her name? Gina Rodriguez? The chick from
Fast and Furious?
No,
that's not where she's from.
She's
Where's
on the
she
show, Jane the Virgin.
Oh, no, I don't know who that is.
I think I know where you're going with this. But go ahead.
Yeah, so
I don't know what's going on.
she's a Latina, right? And
Say it again.
Latina.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did I do it? So I'm not sure what she is. Sake of argument, we'll say she's Puerto Rican.
Right.
Whatever. Doesn't really matter. And she was singing one of Lauryn Hill's songs and said the N-word, right?
What song?
This happened.
What was
like
it, Ready or
last-
Not? Front
I
end
think
niggas give
so.
me heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, yeah, actually, yeah.
Okay.
So, she said the N-word, and people were like, whoa.
She can't. Because her ancestors don't have stripes on their backs.
Right. So.
And they don't have stripes on their backs while being called that word. Mm-hmm. So when I work in, I don't even know if I could say this on camera.
You might not
I've been in
might not have a job by the time.
I've been in situations where I've been surrounded by, say it.
Latinos.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they use the N-word, and every time I hear it, I cringe. Mm-hmm. And they use it excessively. So it's like, do you even know where that came from? Do you even know what that means? Mind you, they're under the age of 18.
Right.
They probably haven't been schooled on that, and they probably wouldn't even care, but I cringe. Because it's like, you don't own the rights to that word.
Right.
It's not yours. So you can't flip it and turn it around and make it colloquial. You can't flip it and turn around and make it brotherly.
I like
you
that
can't
word.
do that.
Can you say that colloquially? I like that word.
Don't be treating me like Aquila.
No,
okay?
I'm treating me like, wait, that was a dope word.
Like a kilo.
Yeah, I just don't, and that goes back to the promotion and profiting thing and the
that's why I
exploiting
asked,
thing.
right.
Because you're taking this word and it's benefiting you so much, my nigga, but you don't even realize what it was to us.
The history.
And we're allowed to take it back and take the dignity from it because it was ours.
Right.
It's not yours. You can't do that.
Right.
So.
And I mean, the reason I asked that, because I felt like the question was like only white people, but it's everyone. You know what I mean? And that's why I wanted to bring that point up to say, like, not to say, like, hey, just white people can't, you know, it's everybody. And like you said, it's y'all's word. I don't want to say y'all, like, y'all people. Like, I'm trying to be like, but like you said, it's our word, so we can take it back. So that's what I'm saying. It's not just white people or Caucasian. But
I would say this, coming from me, like my mom is black, my dad is from Panama, so like I can see both sides. Not see both sides, but I can understand where you're coming from. My thing is today, like you're very right with the past, like that. They didn't go through what we went through theoretically while being called that. But my thought process in the present, like they're niggas too. You know what I'm saying? They're niggas too. In today's time, like
No.
they go through some of the things that we go through.
But hold on, go ahead. Sorry.
Stop me.
I gotta.
Go ahead.
If a Anglo-Saxon was in the supermarket and got upset with a black person and they were ignorant, the first word out of their mouth would be
Nigga or nigger.
if an Anglo-Saxon was in the grocery store and got mad at a Puerto Rican, would the first word be nigger? No. So they can't take.
But
No,
it
it
depends.
wouldn't. Y'all better stop playing like this has happened to y'all before.
No, it hasn't. But look at me.
It
right?
has to me.
But
Well,
you.
all right. So then speak on it. So yeah, go ahead.
Like, people. So sometimes you look at me. Like, one year my hair is low. I look like a black dude. My hair now Spanish looking kind of. So I've been on both sides of that. But at the end of the day, they both derogatory terms based on them thinking less of us. So in that regard, they're niggas too. And we are, whether they can say the word, that's not up for me to discuss, but I know in the eyes of everybody else, they're just like us. Nope. How would you,
Nope.
how would you argue that?
We heard the note. Can you say it?
What I'm trying to get you to understand, my brother, is, and I know this is for a fact, when they see a Puerto Rican and they're trying to insult them and put them down, the first word that comes to their head is not nigger. Mm-hmm. It's not, and it doesn't affect them. If you call a Puerto Rican a nigger, they're gonna laugh it off. If a white person calls me a nigger, I'm probably crying and doing something that's unthinkable. Right. When you say that to a Puerto Rican, that word holds no weight.
Very true.
And that's why they can't take ownership of it and use it for their own discretion. Like, you just can't.
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, how you were saying like thinking in the present, like to me, I wouldn't take it as it hurts because of the history. It hurts because you're using it as a derogatory term. And maybe I'm trying to like reiterate what you're saying. I see that you're trying to hurt me by saying it. So if we in the grocery store and you say that, if you actually knew the proper terms, you probably use them. But you're so small that the only thing you could think of is the N word. You're trying to hurt me. You know what I mean? So I don't know if that's kind of like what you.
No, it's the intent. It's
right,
the intent
exactly.
behind it. It's not even like the word. Like like you're right. It doesn't always have to be nigga. It can be anything else.
Right,
It can be anything
right.
It can be boy. And the boy applies to all ethnicities.
Right.
But when I'm a grown ass man and you are a white man and you're calling me boy, which has another history as well, whatever the word is meant in harm. You know what I mean? It's meant for harm. So I agree that maybe the word might not hit as home, for other people trying to portray us, but I do agree that the intent to what is said to us is meant to harm us in the same way.
Yeah. So,
if you're not black, don't say the N word.
And I can appreciate
I
that.
can agree with that too.
And
as a
I'll
black
be
man, I appreciate that.
And I'll be the first one to say sometimes I do catch myself slipping, but if I don't want my students to say it, because when I asked them that question that I alluded to earlier, what does Black History Month mean to you? One of the kids wrote on the paper the N-word, right? And I said, whether you're trying to be funny or not, let's talk about this because I want you to be more than that. Because in some people's eyes, that is what you are.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
No matter what race you are. Some people look at you, you brown, you nigga.
Exactly. And that's whether you black, Puerto Rican, whatever, I want the kids to understand, that's a no. Like, you are bigger, you're better, you're more powerful than that. And, I kind of was reluctant to even bring the topic up because this episode is about the positivity, but we shed light on a topic that needs to be talked about. I got one last thing to say, and then I'm gonna give y'all 15 seconds of fame. And this is just me being goofy. Black Twitter. Black Twitter's undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Undefeated.
It's a whole nother world. It exists independent of Twitter.
Yeah.
It does.
Twitter is just the platform, but we are a different organization.
You gonna be the president of Black Twitter one day?
Listen.
You will have 30,000 followers based on all types of content.
Oh, man.
I will follow you in a heartbeat.
Yo, Sarai, you need your own podcast, bro?
Listen, I don't even know how to do this stuff. What you doing? What you doing back there?
You saw it took us an hour just to set these mics up. But I mean, that's basically. This was an amazing episode because I just really, you guys shed light on something that I can't. And when I first started this podcast, it was about my story and what I've gone through, and it's through the episodes evolved into something else. So this was a very powerful episode and one of the episodes that I'm most proud of. So I appreciate you guys for coming through. Looking to the camera, talk y'all shit. It doesn't even have to be about the episode. It could be about what y'all got going on, life.
I'm gonna go first.
And yeah,
I can't think. Can you cut this thing? I got a lot to say, okay? I always got a lot to say. My name is Sarai. People call me Rai. My @ name is Brand New Rai, so Brand New RAI. Yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that.
Okay, shock, but
My name is Chris Prescott. You can follow me _C Prescott, CPRESCOTT. You can follow my company, Impact Training, or Impact the League on Instagram. We're just a health and wellness organization that does physical fitness and academic enrichment programs for the community, people of all ages, all sports training, mentoring programs during and after school, different districts locally. And we're just trying to take Black excellence to the next level by us being two former teachers, former professional basketball players, former Division I basketball players, and just trying to give more opportunity to those who want it. So,
word. I appreciate you guys coming through. I want to give a very, very special thank you to my camera woman, Anika, who is a Black woman, a mother, a girlfriend, works a full-time job, and going to school. So that is just a testament to the excellence that we spoke about in this episode. And it's 9:30 at night right now, and I know she worked all day. So I really do appreciate you, but shout you out. And yeah, y'all be great. And that's a wrap on another episode. Cut.
Did you pause it?
I did, but I just started it back.
Because you don't have the sync thing, so I have to literally clap to signal where to sync it.
Okay. So that means go, right?
I don't know if we're stopping already.
After clap.
Ain't no reason to ask why. I just be sure to pay attention and take note on what I find. Cause when it's time to put it together, all those answers that I found now get me by. Not saying I'm always right, but I'm never wrong. All these questions that I've answered on my own.